Nwagata no Sahai is the amiable name, and I'm so delighted to come your way this morning and make your day a premium value one. Now, I've been on the series of driving team productivity, workplace effectiveness with emotional intelligence, and I'm presently on the fourth pillar or component of emotional intelligence, which is the emotional intelligence component of empathy. And empathy is the ability to sense the needs of others. Empathy is the ability to sense the concerns of other people. Empathy is the ability to see things from the perspectives of other people. And now, one way that we can use to bring back public confidence, public trust to many of our institutions as a nation is to integrate empathy into this institution. And one institution that the personnel urgently need to integrate empathy into its interface with citizens, is the police institution. And that is why this morning I'm teaching on policing with empathy. Policing with empathy. Remember, I said just that empathy is your ability to sense the needs of others. Empathy is the ability to sense the concerns of others. And if there is any time to integrate empathy into policing in our society today, it is this time in our nation whereby there is so much economic pressure on the citizens of the country, of the citizens of the people. We have people out there who are seriously under the pressure of feeding themselves and their family. There is the economic pressure of, they need to sort out their accommodation, pay school fees, attend to medical bills, and even battling with the pressure of literally no electricity supply. This mounts a lot of pressure on the emotion, on the psychology of the citizens. And in police, it is very important that, this is understood. Remember, empathy is the ability to understand the concerns and the feelings of other people. It is placing yourself in people's shoes. It is seeing things from people's perspective. Nigerians are seriously battling with a lot of pressure on their psychology, and this pressure is influencing their behavior. The more the need for policing with empathy. Very, very important. Policing with empathy should be the standard protocol in policing, as it is seen in nations like Denmark, seen in nations like Japan, seen in nations like Finland, just to mention a few. And it is very important that as police officers, you get to that understanding of knowing that the pressure that the citizens are presently on as a result of the present economic decline, as a result of their income that is losing purchasing power, that pressure is influencing how they behave. And it is very important as a police officer, you bring emotional intelligence into policing. Now, for you as a police officer, emotional intelligence is your ability to be able to manage your emotion, and also the ability or the intelligence for you to effectively respond to the emotions of citizens. And a core part of that emotional intelligence is what we are looking at this morning, which is the emotional intelligence component of empathy, and specifically calling it policing with empathy. Now, policing with empathy is not weakness. Policing with empathy is not giving room for crime to thrive. Not at all. Policing with empathy is policing with human dignity in mind. Policing with empathy is policing with value for the human life, value for the human being, respect for the human life, while still ensuring that crimes are prevented, while still ensuring professionalism, while still ensuring accountability. This is very important. I'm going to give you a proper definition of policing with empathy from my training slide here, on my device. And I believe maybe one or two police officers may be watching out there across the country, and you want to document this down so that you can begin to integrate this into your policing. Very, very important, because policing is beyond just a preventing crime, which is a core part of policing, but policing is also managing people and managing emotions. And that is where, emotional intelligence come into the equation. You will be unable to effectively manage people and manage emotions if you don't have emotional intelligence, and especially the emotional intelligence component of empathy. And like I said, policing with emotional intelligence is not weakness. Policing with emotional intelligence is not excusing crime, it's not abandoning discipline. Policing with emotional intelligence is policing with human dignity in mind. Now, a definition I have here for policing with empathy, goes thus. Policing with empathy is the ability of a police officer to apply the law firmly while showing understanding, respect, and emotional awareness in his or her interactions with the public. Now, we are going to look at this definition together. I will read it again. Policing with empathy is the ability of a police officer to apply the law firmly while showing understanding, respect, and emotional awareness in his or her interactions with the public. Now, look at the first thing that was said. Apply the law firmly. Now, that means that policing with empathy does not support compromising the law. You must uphold the law. You must prevent the crime. Apply the law firmly. That means that policing with empathy, like I said before, is not tolerating crime. It's not tolerating indiscipline. It is ensuring that the law is upheld. Then you look at the other line. They said, apply the law firmly while showing understanding and respect. This means in doing your job of enforcing the law, you do it with human dignity in mind. You do it with value for the human being. You do it with value for the human life. Then the next line in the definition says, emotional awareness in interaction with the public. You do your law enforcement job bearing in mind the present emotional pressures and economic burden the citizens are presently going through. This is very, very important, because when you stop somebody on the road, when you stop somebody on the way, these people you are stopping on the road, you are stopping on the way to interface and interact with them, which is your law enforcement job. These people, most of them are frustrations and depressions, emotions. Many of them have been frustrated with the economy. Many of them have been frustrated, with these current economic challenges. Price of fuel just, skyrocketing every day. Looking for house rent, school fees. Somebody that used to pay 150,000 naira for a room and parlor, self-contained. Today, they are telling him 800,000 naira, 1.2 million. All these pressures are already stressing the people out. And that's why I said just now, many of them are frustrations and depressions, emotion. And that is why it is very important you bring empathy into your policing. Like I said, policing goes beyond just enforcing law, which is a critical part of it. Policing is also managing people, managing emotions, and it is important you take this very, very seriously. I read the definition of policing with empathy again. Policing with empathy is the ability of a police officer to apply the law firmly while showing understanding, respect, and emotional awareness in his or her interactions with the public. Remember, I will continue to reiterate, policing with empathy does not mean weakness. Policing with empathy does not mean excusing crime or abandoning discipline. Policing with empathy is policing with human dignity in mind. This is very important. And, in modern day policing with empathy is just, what ties everything together. Policing with empathy is a modern day professional policing. That is very key that we note that. And as I begin to conclude this morning, time will fail us to really dig into this subject. If it was a training session, like 3 hours immersion, 4 hours immersion training session, we'll just immerse ourselves into it, and then we're able to really dig deep. But I believe that you will see, glean a lot of premium insights today. Now, I am just going to conclude with the derivable benefit from policing with empathy. There are about 5 of them. Time will still fail me to look at each one in details, but I will highlight them, and I believe that you will also be able to gain something from that. And if you want us to take things to the next level, you will just send me an email. Now, benefits of policing with empathy. Number 1, policing with empathy reduces conflict and violence. Like I said, time will fail us to dig into the explanation. Policing with empathy improves public cooperation. Number 2, Number 3, policing with empathy enhances intelligence gathering. This is very important. Policing with empathy is a critical part of intelligent policing. Very important. Policing with empathy builds trust between police and community. Policing with empathy makes policing safer and more effective. Now listen, you know, rebranding the police institution will not happen by just changing the uniform of the police personnel or policemen. We have to use policing with empathy to change their attitude towards citizens. We have to use policing with empathy to reculture them and make them project the institution in a positive light. But remember one more time, policing with empathy does not mean excusing crime or abandoning discipline. Policing with empathy is policing with human dignity in mind. I believe that profound value have been added to you. I know you want to make some inquiries and ask questions, and my email is inuagata@gmail.com, INUAGHATA, inuagata@gmail.com. Send your questions, send your inquiries, and you know we can take things to the next level from there. I'll be seeing you next week Wednesday. And when I return, I will still be the amiable Inuagata, no Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.